become quite considerate.
I was gonna say, should we just put a plush?
What are you doing, fucking human pretzel? Hey, welcome everybody to the SideQuest live from PAX East. Look at us. 1, 2, 3, 4. I had to count 5 of us here at PAX East, sitting inside the beautiful lounge of the Boston Hyatt.
I think they call it the Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse Seaport. Sorry, we just doxed ourselves. I'm sorry. Fresh back from the SideQuesting PAX GPT party, which was a resounding success. Flop. Inside, you had to be there. It was a great musical performance.
We weren't there.
They weren't there. Only yeah. I am Dolly Domofsky. Let's go around the table. That would be.
Oh, cool. I'm Sam Dixon.
You re-recognize him as Cat?
Yeah, actually a cat on this podcast.
Yeah, first long time listener, first time caller, Sam Dixon.
Taylor Bliss.
JJ Kohler.
SideQuest.
Excellent. Probably have to speak up a little bit more.
SideQuest,
motherfuckers. Day 1 of PAX is complete. We'll start off with our panel real quick. Panel was really good. Had a lot of fun. 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
8 as in ATE.
ATE.
Yep. It was a lot of fun. We had a great turnout.
Yeah.
And we all chatted about
not the full auditorium it was last year.
Correct, because there were actually other competing panels this year.
Yeah.
But
still pretty full.
But still pretty good.
So pretty good. I think we're like almost 3/4 full. So
people like to just go to panels and hear people talk.
Yeah.
For a change.
I'm pretty sure.
So it was a good time. It's on Twix.
Yeah.
Twitch.tv/PAX3. It's archived on there. I will download it and throw it on the SideQuesting website as well and get it drop it as a podcast. So, but in the meantime, let's talk about
people will be really thrilled about us stealing their content.
We gave them content for free. Okay.
They gave us the passes.
Let's talk about the stuff that we saw on the show floor today. Who wants to go first? We saw a lot of things.
I can start if you want.
Go ahead.
I'm here first. I mean, I think the biggest thing I saw today was Mina the Howler. Is the Shovel Knights guys follow-up game. The way I've been kind of describing it is it's basically like what if Castlevania was a GBA Zelda game instead.
Ooh, nice. Okay, I like that.
And like that's essentially what it is. I mean, they have like, you know, even the like candelabras can be smashed and get potions and stuff from it. You collect like sub weapons that you can like trade in and out and use. I didn't find it during my playthrough, but I was watching people that like had like a hook shot type thing that they could use as a weapon, and then also as like a movement ability. And then they also just by default you can tunnel under the ground, and that's for some of the puzzling stuff. Like basically the demo didn't explain pretty much anything to you.
No, it's wide open.
And like there's just one part where it's like you kind of have to put together, oh, I've got to go pick up this like statue head and go throw it on that to like get through. And it just seems like it's got that like, you know, that same sort of like NES, Super Nintendo, original Game Boy charm that like everything they've released has so far. And I mean, they also had like Pocket Dungeon and all that stuff on the show floor, but really that was I think the biggest thing that I played today.
Cool.
Yeah, I also I did that during media hour. And I was chatting with the guy heading up there a little bit. So they give you 15 minutes. It's just a raw timed.
Okay.
And it's basically the intro to and then the contents of a small dungeon. You know, like what a Zelda dungeon would be on NES, SNES era. And so they give you 15 minutes. He said that they expect an average, you know, probably the first time playthrough would be about an hour. The fastest anyone, or at least that he had seen, like for internal to Yacht Club, was 8 minutes.
Wow. Shit.
And
to get through just the demo or the whole game?
Yeah, to get through like what is in that build.
In that build.
That they're only giving people 15 minutes that they expect would take an hour your first time through. They have beaten it in 8 minutes, which is, I don't know, like it's just that kind of game. And which obviously was always exciting because speed running on that kind of stuff is a lot of fun. But the other thing is that, you know, a bunch of the weapons are new because it's not just the whip that's what we've seen so far. They also added in a hammer weapon and dagger weapons, which are new to the build that are here.
Oh, awesome.
So that's obviously I played that.
Yeah, because when I saw it at West, that stuff was.
That's what they've been working on, and it's probably not coming out in 2023.
Probably not. Yeah.
That was from the horse's mouth. They're like, we had to put it on the Kickstarter because Kickstarter wouldn't let us put it any further out than that, but it's probably not happening. And then went to Necrodancer, which was the Rift of the Necrodancer, and that shit rules.
It ruled. Okay, tell me about this game. So I'm curious about this.
So it's a rhythm game, typical to the Necrodancer series. All the notes come down on
a highway.
On a highway. I guess. I mean, is that the official term?
That's like Guitar Hero stuff. It's
they call it the highway. But it's 3 lanes. But in your much like how Necrodancer does it, you're fighting enemies, and so it's just arrow keys, and then the down arrow hits all 3 notes simultaneously, and then different enemies. We saw 4 different kinds of enemies, and then on top of that, enemies have different levels. So the default was blue, and then green, and then gold.
Yeah.
And there was some variation in there depending on the enemy, like skeletons are white and then gold and what, etc. But anyway, what happens is that the higher up they are, the more hits that they take to kill. But each enemy also has a unique
attack
pattern. And so the first time you hit a bat, it moves one direction in the direction that is pointing.
Are you gonna do that during?
No, I'm not. We're just testing the audio. Classic testing the audio live. And so the bats always move in the direction that they're facing. So you hit a bat once, it moves over to that direction. And then the bat levels up, and then it moves 2 directions. Except a certain color will then move one direction and then come back the other direction. And so there's a lot of possibilities.
And there's slimes that get hit 3 times in a row.
But they never move.
Yeah, and they don't move. Skeletons, you hit them, they'll fly back. And so it's really fun. Throwing in bad slimes, skeletons is
and then your first time through, your brain is not keeping up, and the second time through, your brain is still not keeping up. But you're starting to imagine a world where it could, because at the end of the day, if you're hitting all the notes, it's always going to come at the same spot. So you're going to still be able to memorize in the way that you can other rhythm games. And it just makes it for a really interesting way to piece it together.
Yeah. Then it turns into a rhythm heaven game where you're doing yoga,
and then all of a sudden you're with an instructor, and she wanted to
people.
And then
Welcome to our show.
Yeah, right. It's really good. I'm looking forward to it.
It's just a rhythm heaven thing with yoga and timing it to the instructor, and then it's
hey, this is closing, cleaning.
Oh, it's closing. All right. Looks like we're closing up here.
Yeah.
So we gotta go quick. In other words. All right. I played.
Just gonna blast through this. We're actually gonna do this.
Yeah. I played Angerfoot from Devolver Digital, which is pretty wild because it's essentially you're just running through a building at Mach speed, and you're kicking things.
It's first-person shooter Hotline Miami.
First-person shooter Hotline Miami. Yes. Did you get a chance to play it?
No, I played the demo for the Steam Fest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
So I'm not sure if the demo is different than what they're showing here.
You're going into this building, and you start off by just kicking doors open. You kick a door, and it kills an enemy. And then, of course, it's early alpha build, all that kind of stuff. And then at some point you can find a gun, a shotgun, and start using some of those things. But it's amazing just how quickly you're bouncing around the building. And it's sort of a roguelike in a weird way because you die and you restart and you can upgrade stuff. But that's really, really awesome to take a look at. And then I played Trinity. We're checking to see if
we're probably going to have to go.
We're probably just going to have to part 2.
Yeah. Trinity Fusion, which was a blast. The Brawlout team developed it, And so they took their platforming that they learned from the Brawl Out and turned it into an actual platformer, like the fighting aspects turned into a platformer.
We're all extremely approachable.
And we're good, guys. We're good.
We're not
Yes,
good.
we're not
We're
good.
really bad.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Talking on the phone.
All right, we'll be back in a minute. Okay, hey, how's it going? Do not turn anything on. Hey, we're back.
Turn on the.
We had a little bit of
Put movie back
what
on.
was Ryan Gant says, what was with the abrupt ending?
We were
Just watch it again.
I had to do some sick yo-yo tricks.
We got
No, we
kicked
got
We
kicked out
couldn't film
because
it.
they closed the fucking
Yes.
window.
They were closing the lounge that we were sitting in.
And Dally wouldn't shut the fuck up as they were wandering around.
Hey, all I'm gonna say is you fuckers were talking about let's do it in the lounge, the coolest thing on the planet. Guess what? It's not the coolest thing on the planet.
It was a good idea until we got kicked out.
That's also true. Anywho, hey, so what's happening, guys?
Welcome back. Okay, so
Welcome back.
when we last left our
I was talking about
heroes.
Trinity Fusion. So, Trinity Fusion is an interesting game. It is the Brawl Out team.
Yeah.
They took their sort of fighting know-how from Brawl Out, and decided let's turn this into a platformer. And they thought, what's the first thing we can start looking at? Well, they had like handfuls of cool like enemy designs. The guy was telling me, he's like, yeah, we had like all these awesome enemy designs, and realized, well, how are we going to link all these enemy designs together? Like 4 years ago, they're like, we have enemies, we have characters, but we can't put them into a game. And all of a sudden, Into the Spider-Verse debuts and talks about the multiverse. They're like, let's do a fucking multiverse. So they turned it into a multiverse game, and it worked. Like it clicks. Essentially, you are one character who's technically 3 characters across 3 different multiverses, and you can start with any of the 3 any of the 3 universes. Start kind of collecting loot. Your whole goal is to prevent the any one of these 3 multiverses from becoming like the winner champion multiverse, right? Nefarious forces, all that stuff. So by going through each of these individual multiverses, there's 3 characters. You're the same person, but kind of split up in 3 different characters, 3 variations. One person is more sort of bio focused, so her attacks are like sort of bio and science. Another one is more like technology, so you're using like lasers and guns and that kind of shit. And then her third version is like a heavy, so you get a big old sword and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of broken up that way, and each of those universes are different. So the heavy, for instance, has her universe, the robots won against humanity, and so you're fighting with super powered robots. The biome universe is like humanity lost and nature kind of came back and became poisonous, and then so on and so forth. Platformer, you can take on these enemies, and then the coolest thing is there are certain points where you get to these portals, and in the portal, you can actually either switch out to become one of the other 2 characters, or you can go into their universe with your character, with your stats.
Sonic CD style.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
to feature best
And so I found that part was really cool, but really the battle mechanic, the gameplay was awesome. Like the animations are really fluid. There's a lot of weight to the attacks. There's a light attack, and then there's sort of a special attack. You can do some power slides to get away from enemies. It reminds me a lot of, like, I don't want to say Metroid, but there's a little bit of Metroid Dread in it, in that some enemies are like, you want to avoid some attacks. You want to go head on. And the really cool thing is that, or one of the interesting things is that your special attacks, you only build up power for special attacks by doing the weaker attacks. So you do like the smaller, if you have the sword, you're like chipping away with the sword, and then you can do the power attack, switch to that for some enemies who maybe have stronger shields, to take down their shields. But you have to build up, chip away with like jabs before you can do an actual like hook or an uppercut. So I found that stuff really cool, really interesting. It was actually a lot of fun and totally enjoyable. Yeah, so that was Trinity Fusion. I'm really looking forward to that one. And then I played Pacific Drive, but I want somebody else to talk about that.
Oh yeah, I played Pacific Drive. Back set in my stomping grounds of the Pacific Northwest, the Olympic Occlusion Zone or whatever. That game is kind of still an unknown. Like they've only shut it off a couple of times with some basic like idea of what that game is, but to actually like sit down there and see what that game is. You only get like one loop through.
Sure.
It's like a roguelike, clearly, that's like car based, but you only really get, you're either gonna die or finish the loop.
I died in my run, but I love dying.
But
Same.
yeah, you just get your like shitty wagon, and
It's like ultra realistic, but
yeah,
it's also like
Silly.
but not
silly realistic.
but not like
Yeah.
but they didn't make it unfun. Like
Yes,
there is like you have to, because it's resource management too.
Right,
It's a survival game, so it's like, okay, you need to like pick up this tire that you found and put it on your car because it's missing its tire. You get a weld, you get like a torch to like repair your panels, and it like, you know, you have like a percentage, and then you got to fill it up with gas and keep gas in there and everything. And then you get your car. Well, first I got in the car, and then I sit down, and I'm like, oh shit, I have to put the hood down and go back out and slam the hood down.
You put the hood down.
Go back into the fucking car.
You basically find an abandoned station wagon.
Yeah. Well, but it's clearly that's clearly just your car. It's clearly not an abandoned wagon because it's filled with technology that you put in there.
Right.
It seems like you're stealing, like in the long game, you're going to be stealing shit off of other cars that you find that are literally.
It's kind of like creating a Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But none of that's really in the game. Really, it's kind
In
of
the demo. Yeah.
You can do it for funsies, but you don't have to. But like this one just has like, there's a map that is like in the passenger seat. So like, and there's like, it's got markers on it that were like, in this demo, you're trying to find.
Go to the circles.
Yeah, you're going to these little triangles that are on the map because they have these little.
They're actually
orbs.
squares. Both of you said different shapes.
Yeah,
No, it says circles on my map.
Yeah.
It said go to the circles.
Mine were squares.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Ah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm 100% positive mine were squares.
Okay.
So.
I think you're a square.
Anyways, so like there's like these like basically reality tethers that you have to go to and get these orbs that are in there, and you have to grab the orb and take it to your car and put it in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
What do you look like you got something you want to say?
Well, I was gonna say the coolest thing I think is like you have to like put the brake on.
Yeah, it's so funny because like I pulled the car to there, get out of the car, grab the orb, you turn around and you see the car just rolling
it was only
away.
you that would do that. Like the first thing so what you have to do is not only do you turn the key, you have to put the car in drive.
Yeah.
But if you put the car in the drive, it's like, oh, I'm eventually going to have to put it in park when I get out of the
didn't
car.
it's a video game.
Never be in a car with you.
It's a video game. You don't expect it to be that like
Grand
nuts
Theft
and
Auto.
bolts. Like
JJ over
you don't expect it to be that nuts and bolts
But
for
that's,
something that's
it's
like
so good.
But it's funny that that's like there. You just see your car just rolling away as you're like trying like, and the orb is also slowly like lowering your health too because it's like radioactive.
Yeah.
So
which is great. Everything's trying to kill you in there.
There's these like gravity rifts that pop
Yes.
up.
Yeah.
So you're driving down and like a rift will pop up and your car's like
Yeah.
fly up in the air. You know, like land, it's like, and you'll look over, see your map. It'll show like your car's broken in here. You have to get out. Like
So the cool thing with the map is that you're literally in your car. So you have to turn your head.
It's
You
not
have to
a
turn your
pop.
camera.
Yeah.
It's not a pop-up map. It's not like in like a Far Cry game where like the character like pulls out a paper map or something. It is like in the passenger seat, so you have to turn.
So you're holding the right trigger to accelerate.
Yeah.
You're using the left stick
to steer,
and using the right stick to look at the map.
over at the map.
It's totally.
And you're trying to like.
It's great.
And you're trying to like, because shit is going on around you because it's like it's the SCP shit. There's aliens, there's electricity, there's pillars coming up from the ground, there's energy buzzsaws doing shit.
It's so cool.
And so you're like, you're trying, like, I need to move.
Yeah.
But like I can't stop and try to get my bearings. So you're trying to find the perfect, like, to keep my eyes on the road while looking to make sure I'm heading in the right direction towards my next objective. And it's
also like you need to go off road, but the car isn't.
The car sucks.
So you're like, it's like you're like barely going up.
I got out of the car and I ran up and I grabbed a couple orbs and we'll run back.
So I ended up getting all 3 orbs, and then it makes you like choose one of like two on mine. I don't know how it is for you guys because it is roguelike. It's semi-randomized.
Yeah.
I don't know if the demo is because I only played it once, so I have no way to confirm. You guys have different shapes.
I wonder if they kept like or maybe not even the same seed, but like a subset of seeds to make sure
but,
that
like each station has a different seed, so they could like
just to like reduce bugs.
So you pick the one you want to go to, and then you just have to like drive to this orange pillar that's off in the distance. Unfortunately, my orange pillar was off-road. So, and after you activate this, it does that PUBG thing where the ring starts kind of coming in on you.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there.
The storm. It's called the storm.
The storm, is coming in, and so I'm in the mud, going like just 15 miles an hour through the mud, trying to get to the thing, and like eventually the thing goes beyond me, and you're taking damage, and the car is busting apart and stuff. At one point, like I didn't see them, but Zach was talking about aliens that he saw that were fucking with his car with a magnet.
Really?
Yeah.
And shit!
At one point, as I'm trying to get to the cone, my car starts being pulled in. So I think the same thing is starting to happen.
There's like
alien shit.
3 of them flying around. They have magnets, and like I would walk towards. I like got out my car to go grab an orb, and I walked towards my car, and they kept just barely pulling it away right as I was
they were just fucking with him. They were just playing keep away.
And they pull it. I walk and they pull it.
Antagonistic alien. I loved it. Was like I felt like I was Clark Griswold in the post-apocalypse. It's like it's a station wagon. I'm like, you know what? I'm not only am I gonna put the tire on this wagon, I'm gonna fix every freaking metal panel. I'm gonna paint every metal panel. I'm gonna take a look and make sure there's nothing missing under the hood. It's all working. Okay, let me go find some parts and come back. I loved it.
It was very funny because I accidentally was like, when the game first started, the demo first started, I was like, pull out your blowtorch and repair things. Like, do I have to repair the engine? And I walk up to the engine and I push R1, which is like the interact button, and I just pull the whole engine block out. And I'm just like,
If you do that on the door, you just pull off your
whole door off.
I wonder if there's going to be some sort of like reason other than like to do that. Like, what's the reason?
There has to be like a mechanic to like upgrade your car.
Yeah, I gotta think that you'll probably find like some type of off-road tires for the stuff.
It would be funny if it would be like you need your car to weigh less, so get as much panels off of this thing as you can get. Yeah. But I barely made it to the pillar and ended the cycle.
I did. Yeah, I died. But I got out of the car when it was like 10 seconds left. I'm like, let's fucking do this. Got out of the car and waited, and you just see this big red wave coming at you. It's basically me going Independence
platoon style.
Was there any other resources for like you as the player other than your HP?
I was too focused on like the gameplay loop.
Sprinter.
You
have to manage like your gasoline.
Stuff like that. And
it's mostly like car based.
And the character had like other tools on him. Right. I didn't even know what any of them did. Or use them.
As I'm dying, I'm like, oh, let's have fun. I took the flares out, and I'm like waving the flares. I'm like, we're gonna fucking die.
Like the Rock, you're on top of the.
Legit. It was pretty cool.
Nah, that game's that game's gonna be cool.
I talked to one of the devs. He's the 3D guy. Like
sounds like somebody you'd like to talk to.
I did. I talked to him
and stuff. He said like I worked on Burnout and I liked that game. I worked on other car games. I don't like those as much. He like hates like the nitty gritty stuff on like cars. He said like this game is like an amazing thing to work on for me because it's so weird. He's just saying like all the cool stuff he had to make for cars, but it's also like those off the beaten path cars that you get to model. Like
it's the nitty gritty. It's the nitty gritty part, but like the fun nitty gritty part. It's not like I'm gonna have. What about the level of the transmission? It's like no. I'm gonna code the part of the car that nobody actually interacts with in a normal racing game.
Right.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I can't wait to see what the overall game feels like. How much of this am I really going to spend my time working on my car, and like what am I actually going to be doing with the car?
I hope that it makes you like God, imagine that you can't pick up the engine. You actually have to go out and find like a pulley or some shit.
You gotta find like an engine stand out there and like
I would love if they
get a
made,
jack.
like the actual like driving controls that allowed you to use the steering wheel and then all that other like running around like an Xbox controller. That would be insane.
Cool.
What else did you play?
It all needs to be like Desert Bus, where the car just is always drifting.
Kind of felt like it.
I played Toxic Crusaders.
Okay.
That's it's still very early. It is a run of the mill. There was nothing exciting about it. It's just a really well made, good looking
side-scrolling
brawler based on a 90s property that ran for 13 episodes.
Based on a movie series.
Inspired by a movie series, because that's what the 90s was. It was like, let's sell R-rated movies to kids. So you had like the Rambo cartoon. You had like Police Academy cartoon. You got like Toxic Crusaders based on Toxic Avenger. You know, it's not bad, but like it's also kind of half broken right now because there are times where like the AI would just like step off screen and you're just sitting there with like, come on.
I feel like I remember that from the old days too, though.
But the AI was still smart enough to kind of path towards you.
Yeah.
Like the AI doesn't seem smart enough right now to like be on a permanent path towards you. It's kind of chaotic how enemies move right now.
Nice.
But yeah, it's okay. The dev there's like the guy that I was playing with went to whoever the dev guy that was there. I think it was Q&A or something. He was brought it up to him and he said, "I know, I have brought this up.
I know.
I am going to pass along this thing." So it was almost like you could tell that it was like a sticking point. Like he knows that being off-screen thing is like an issue with this game, and nobody's listened to him thus far. But now that they're getting people with hands-on time with this game and are like, it's fun, except there are times where you're just kind of like wailing off-screen, and it's impossible. You don't.
They needed actual feedback from people playing it. That wasn't part of the test team.
Also, this is like a dev team that I don't think they've done anything really significant. They've done like I forget what the game that they did prior to this, but it was like not anything exciting.
Yeah, there were 2 games that I played today. Like as soon as I was done with the demo, they were like, "Please tell us what you thought because we have no idea what we're doing." like please let us know what you think of it.
If we should make this.
Yeah, it was crazy that it was Pokemon.
Please,
the card game, not the actual.
It's finally my time.
Yeah. We got done playing Super Mario Brothers, and the guy turns to us like,
So my name is Miyamoto. Hey Zach, what couple things did you play?
Okay, so I played.
We'll put it on the show next week. We got time.
No, we don't.
I played the Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life remake. It's my favorite Harvest Moon game. Well, now it's Story of Seasons, but there's a remake coming out. I played that. As a takeaway from someone who's played that game a ton, there's a lot of quality of life that got added to it, which is really cool. Like you can access all your bag compartments from like as you're playing the game instead of having to menu into it and like pause into your bag. So you have that, and then like you press the trigger, you have access to all your tools, which is amazing. But yeah, there's a lot of like love and care that went into it. Like they just like they took the map of the original game and just like added details and just like elevated things. And you can pause the game and see the map where people are, and that's also cool because that's not in the game as it is now. So that's super cool. I played a little bit of that because I've played that game so much. I just like had my hands on it. I was like, okay, this is good.
You just needed to confirm
I'm gonna wait. And it was on the Switch and it ran at like 60 frames a second. Good.
Damn.
So, yeah.
And
a
special treat.
and XSEED game, it runs well on the Switch. Crazy. And then I played Cuisinier.
Oh, cool.
I think that's how you say it. Yeah, that game's like Diner Dash, but like RPG dungeon delving game. where you make food.
It seemed a little bit like, well, Battle Chef Brigade was like that
Kinda,
side story, but that was like more of a like third person or isometric,
it's like
Zelda type thing.
Yeah, it's a top down like dungeon crawler game where you go in there and get food, and then you bring it back to your restaurant, and you make food for people, and you like build out your restaurant.
Yeah. So the difference, especially if you're comparing to Battleship, because I stopped in when Zach was about halfway through, and the biggest difference, especially compared to Battleship Brigade, is that instead of it being like a cooking competition where you come back and you do that puzzle in Battleship Brigade, in Cuisinier, you get those ingredients from killing the monsters in the hack and slash portion, and then you come back and you open a shop. A diner shop, and so you, in a very similar fashion to like Moonlighter, to Recettear, you like there's times a day, so you have to open your shop for a specific amount of time, and then customer walks in, your shop starts small, only one table. You can only seat one person at a time. They order something, you then have to go cook it, bring it to their table, try and get their checkout. Like, so you get into that.
So yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Is it the type of like, oh, this person wants like a fish sandwich, so you got to go get like the almost like Overcooked, right? You got to go get the fish.
Yeah.
The fish.
No. You do, well, so there's.
He said it's going to get to that point where you have multiple stations.
Yeah, even if you don't have to go get, like, you don't have to like get the ingredients, but you will have to know, does this cook in a pot, on the stove, or on like on the grill kind of thing, and then you have to go to the right station but like the ingredients are just available there, and you choose the right.
So can you get into the scenario, that you like hunt a couple of monsters or whatever, and you come back and like the stuff that the people are ordering is stuff that you don't have?
Yes.
Okay.
It's great. Like, there's also like city management sim quest things too, where you're helping people building furniture for your shop, and like it's just it's so good. Like I'm excited for it.
The way that he mentioned it,
town simulator.
The way that he mentioned is that like because there's seasons, whether it's spring, summer, fall, or whatever, the dishes will change per season as well. So I'm assuming that once you get to know it well enough, you're like, all right, it's spring season. I got to hunt a lot more boars.
Yeah, I gotta go to this dungeon to get this like food. There's also an NPC you talk to. Your character is really small, and this NPC is super big. He's out of frame, and then his character, he leans down under the TV like frame to like talk to you. So he's like off frame. It's just like down here. He leans down. It has a lot of charm.
I love that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. It's like some guys in Thailand or something, or China.
I thought it was Singapore.
Singapore, yeah. So,
but I mean, let's name another.
Let's choose South Korea. But yeah. So it's cool. Small team. I just can't wait.
I mean, there was it's the type of game where voices are, and so they just put the character's portrait on screen when they're talking. I personally actually love it coming to stuff like PAX East, and one character, beautiful art, clearly done, it's ready to go. Another person pops up, boom, the roughest sketch you've ever seen.
Like one character who's a pencil trace.
And I was like, I have to ask, was this actually like drawn on a piece of paper? It's like, no, it's Photoshop, but like the way it's cut out, because somebody probably ran another trace to take the layer out. Because I honest to God thought it was a piece of paper like that they scanned in. But I don't know. I love that stuff because all the care is still gone into preparing it for the demo space. It's just a literal work in progress. That stuff gets me going.
That's definitely the surprise so far for me. So I'm excited. Hope it comes out this year, but I don't think so.
Whenever I see like pure work in progress stuff, I don't know. It depends. Like the fighting stuff looked really polished.
Yeah, I mean, everything besides those character art looked good.
If their character artists, if their art team is like moving on cylinders, it could do it.
Yeah.
But I didn't ask that question, so.
Yeah, definitely check it out if you're at PAX.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, one more game. JJ wants to talk about Wrestle Quest.
No, I want to talk about that other Wrestle.
Oh, Wrestle Story.
Wrestle Story, because we talked about Wrestle.
That's true. There's 2 wrestling games we saw today.
Wrestle Quest is the one that we've always talked about and always loved. I think we gave it Game of the Show last year.
Talk about Wrestle Story.
Wrestle Story sucked.
Uh-oh.
I like Wrestle Story.
Oh, no. Was that the one that was near Devolver's stuff?
Yeah.
There was, I think there's like 4 wrestling
So it's Paper Mario Wrestling.
It's Paper Mario Wrestling.
All of a sudden, WWE took off again.
I mean, AEW, baby. Reinvigorated.
It's Paper Mario Wrestling. It's sort of like it's a turn-based RPG.
Yeah, I mean, when I say Paper Mario, the combat has
very much.
Almost the exact same UI. You know that like the hold the button down until it goes like bling bling bling, and then a big one, and then you release it and do the attack, or like the hold the stick back and release it, and all of that. Enemies coming towards you, time your A attack to deflect the lower damage. The combat is 100% Paper Mario, and the wrestling stuff feels hokey and kind of tacked on. It doesn't feel like it was ever originally a wrestling game. It seems like it's a wrestling game like now. But
it's just an aesthetic.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they just built a game first and were like, all right, what do we do with this?
Yeah. Because like you play, you play
Wrestlers.
something like Wrestle Quest, which is also a wrestling themed RPG, but like everything about it feels like wrestling. Like everything's gimmicked up. You're like calling for like, we're gonna tag up, man, and then you can, and then the next move can be a tag team move. Or
Wrestling Quest, just by looking at it, is identifiable. It's like this is sort of a celebration of like wrestling industry and all that stuff. And then Wrestle Story, like if it didn't say wrestle on it, I would have had no idea.
It feels like Wrestle Story feels like it's just like you unlocked like a couple of luchador skins in like a generic RPG.
Like, and that's such a shame, because you know what it makes me think of? It makes me this scenario, not the game that you described. Listen, I'm going somewhere.
Let's let the man cook.
It makes me. It just reminds me of Charles Barkley. Shut up and
Yes.
Because as dumb as that whole game was,
it was awesome.
I know, but at
That's
the same
a 7 out of 10.
But at the same time, it's like really stupid.
Yeah.
It has almost nothing to do except for the fact that like love and care was put into it.
Yeah.
To tie it all together, because that you have to take it that extra mile of like creating a post-apocalyptic scenario where the Chaos Dunk killed off most of the planet.
Yeah.
Very normal result.
So yeah, I wasn't. Like, it sucks that we waited so long to get the asset pack for that, but I kind of wasn't a fan of that.
Let's do
that. And we'll have more games. We're going to see more games tomorrow, and some folks will even see games on Saturday. I will not. But definitely stay tuned. We're going to give away our PAX Team Choice Awards tomorrow. And we'll do a post about those. These guys stayed here into the home base here instead of going to PAX GPT because they've been writing nonstop. Yep. Wonderful.
Oh yeah.
Taylor got into the Google AI, and we've just been like burning the midnight.
We'll have stuff up over the next.
First step.
We will we'll follow up with the probably more stuff next week. We'll talk about on the next episode of the SideQuest.
I can't wait to talk about recreation.
Yes. Until then, you can find us SideQuesting.com, social stuff, SideQuesting TV on the streaming platforms. Most importantly, find us in the Discord. What?
Yeah.
In
the Discord.
And we hope to see you there. We hope to enjoy your company. Check out the video, which will go up for our wonderful PAX panel. Yeah. And we'll chat with all of you in the next episode of the SideQuest. Bye. This is the awkward moment where I get to get up.
You get to get up
and walk over, and you
shove your crotch right.
Shove my crotch
for the second time today.
Yeah.